We'll begin this morning with the Kansho. Reverend Elaine Donlin is here, as well as Kevin Yoza are here helping me out this morning. And so Elaine Sensei will ring the Kansho to get us started, and we'll just go right into the Shōshinge chanting. If you happen to have one of these service books at home, this purple ones, it's page 33, but Kevin's going to kindly share it up on the screen, so you'll just be able to follow along that way. As we do our Shōshinge chanting this morning. And then we'll proceed through our usual Shōshinge routine. Again, I'm very excited to be here with all of you and to be part of this service live in the Hondo this Sunday. So we will go ahead and begin at this time. Thank you.
Namanda, butsu namanda, butsu namanda, butsu namanda, butsu namanda, butsu namanda, butsu. Kansho butsu jodo in kokudo ninden shizen mak konryu nujo shushokan chohotsuke daiguze Goko shi shoju Jusen yosho monjippo Fuho muryo muhenko Mugen mutai koen no 少女歓喜知恵公不難難事無所公超日学校精進生一切群上無故障本願両語少女公死心信行願に浄土学書大涅槃一心滅度願成就如来所以公修世唯説弥陀本願会五条悪事群上会お心如来如実語納仏一年喜愛心不難問の徳涅槃凡上逆法再演入如修士入会一味摂取信仰上昇公意の水波無明暗東内心臓死有無上不真実信心天非如に故不無無資源如無暗逆心謙虚大狂気即応調節語悪臭一切全幕本文に問心如来偶然観仏言古代小月者善人如踏んだり権利打仏本願念仏邪見教満なく主張信行十字人に難中止難昔インド祭典シロング中華自治域思考層現代諸国摂生意妙如来本税置き釈迦如来両合戦一種五妙難天竺十十大自主とす質の財派有無権先絶大乗無情報 小官議事小安楽天神南行六六信行異行指導楽億年弥陀仏本願十年即時入筆上唯の上昇如来公大内非偶音天神菩薩増論説奇妙無下公如来永寿たら謙信寺高専の頂大誓願こういう本願力へこ移動群上昇一心金入功徳大崩壊実逆入大へ収集徳子蓮華造世界即昇進如法精進有本の人間人図入生寺音寺を下本師道南両天使上皇乱生菩薩来三蔵如是十条教凡上専業気楽法天神菩薩論中継報道因果見世観おげんねこゆたり少女死因有心人惑前本部新人法生じ生じ即涅槃必死無量光明と小衆上回復系同社結晶道南省有名浄土活入万全自力変言集円満徳語完全書三不三心軽音音増末法滅道非一生増悪地癖死安如外称妙観全道徳妙部所因公愛上三両薬悪公妙妙語見人念開入本願大智慧 行者少女今後心狂気一年総合用意大と逆三人即小小市上楽原神公開一大教変気暗女可日祭先祖修心反戦人法権二度小弁流極重悪人優勝部我薬剤非摂取中煩悩証言水不見大無権上昇感本資源空女仏教年民全幕本仏に新宗教書後編集戦弱本願具悪性現代生自輪伝下血地上一生死即入弱上無意楽一心人に納入愚教大自修士と上際無変極上悪同族自主愚道心有意過信心高祖成仏のこの方は今に自己をへたまへり方針の降臨きわもなくせのもみょ照らすなりナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモア し無量の所相ことごとく光景かむらぬものはなし真実妙に奇妙せよナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナモアミダンブナ下脱の降臨きわもなし高速かむるものはみな有無離ると述べたも平等確に奇妙せよナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナ幸運無限女国一切の右に触りなし光沢かむらぬものぞなき何時義を奇妙せよナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナモアミダンプナ Namo Amitabha Nam Shōjo Komyo Narabinashi Kushikono Yuenareba Isai no Gokemon Nozokorinu Hikyo e o Kimyo se yo Namo Amidambu Namo Amidambu Namo Amidambu Namo Amidambu Nam Bukko se Sai Dai Ichi Ko En no Buto Nazuketari Samzu no Kokuan Hiraku nari Dai Ogu Kimyo se yo Gan Nishikudoku Byoto se isai Do Tsubo Daishin Ojo Amna Namanda Butsu 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 Namanda Namanda Butsu Namanda Butsu Namanda I begin my talk this morning with a passage from the Shōshinge. This is an English translation. Please join me in Gassho. The person burdened with extreme evil should simply say the name. Although I too am within Amida's grasp, passions obstruct my eyes and I cannot see him. Nevertheless, great compassion is untiring and illumines me always. Namandavats, 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 namandavats. Oh, hi, Stephanie. It's good to see you all. This is very, very nice to have everybody together. So Stephanie's doing a Dharma doubleheader today. She played piano for San Mateo Dharma service, and now she's here with her mother joining us for Shōshinge. So this is wonderful to all be together, and it's good to see all of you. Oh, hi, Susan. See, Susan's got her camera on as well. Many of you. Oh, Doug's here too. Great. So this is really nice to see you all. And although we're not here in person, to have you. So we've got a projector screen set up here in the Hondo. I can see you all on the gallery view, and it really feels like we're here together to hear the teachings of the Buddha together. As you know, we chanted Shōshinge in its entirety with the 6 wasan. This is a wonderful experience and practice that we do. Perhaps for many of us, we hear this most often chanted at funeral services. This is commonly chanted at temples in Japan. BCSF is kind of unique in that we have this monthly Shōshinge service. Many temples, Shōshinge is primarily chanted for funeral services, and it's very meaningful to chant Shōshinge because it expresses the essential meaning of the Jodo Shinshu teaching, which brings us comfort throughout the many challenges that we face, and I think particularly when we, at the time of losing a loved one. One of the unique things about the Japanese Buddhist tradition is that funeral services are one of the primary activities of Buddhist temples in Japan. Funerals and memorials for many temples in Japan, that's basically their main activities. They'll do the major services, but day in, day out, week by week, it's the funerals and memorials that are the occasions when folks gather at the Buddhist temple. And that's somewhat unique. Of course, all Buddhist traditions have offer rich support for those who are grieving and mourning and have ritual and rites for that process. But in the Japanese tradition, it's really kind of at the heart of the practice. And some people even talk about this Japanese funeral Buddhism, or Soshiki Bukkyo, funeral Buddhism. And people in their minds will associate Buddhism with funeral services and with death. Some people say that, for example, it's bad luck to meet a Buddhist priest on New Year's Day, because somebody might die in your family that year because you've had this encounter with death. Or there's an issue with chaplains in Japan going into hospitals because people don't want this association of death with Buddhist chaplains, people in their Buddhist robes. So many Buddhist chaplains will not wear their robes into the hospital. I've even had people ask me, when I go to perform services, Makuragyo and so forth, they'll ask me, are you going to wear the Buddhist robes to go? And I think, of course. But some people in their minds, they're like, are people okay with that? So it's a different kind of attitude. When I was living in Japan and started out and first became a minister, one of my friends who had relatively recently lost her mother and was still kind of experiencing some of her own grieving process had asked me, as a Buddhist priest, you're around so much sadness, so much, so many encounters with death and with loss. Isn't that really depressing? Why would you want to do something so depressing? And I think it's true that an encounter with death is sad, and it should be sad. And I feel that a funeral is a meaningful way to encounter that loss, to encounter the reality of death, to hear these words of the Shōshinge that we chanted today, and to take comfort in that teaching is, to me, the most powerful and empowering way to encounter that moment of loss. And in Buddhism, the idea of sadness is closely connected with the reality of compassion. In fact, the Japanese word, for those of you who know some Japanese, the Japanese word for sadness is kanashi, kanashi. And in the Japanese reading, it's kanashi. In the sort of Chinese reading, it's hi. And it's part of this word jihi. So the word for compassion in Buddhism contains the word for sadness. These things are so closely connected. And I want to explore a little bit, reflecting on these words of the Shōshinge. What is this relationship between sadness and compassion in the Buddhist tradition? So Shinran Shonin, when in the Shōshinge, he has a very clear explanation of this word compassion. He writes, concerning compassion, jihi, to eliminate pain is termed ji. To give happiness is termed hi. Through ji, one eliminates the pain of all sentient beings. Through hi, one becomes free of thoughts that do not bring them peace. So there are these two parts to being compassionate, to practicing compassion, to experiencing compassion. The first part is to eliminate pain, to take away the pain. And then the second part is to give happiness. So to eliminate pain, to remove the pain, and to give happiness. This is what compassion means from a Buddhist perspective. And so if we think about this, think about your daily life. What form does compassion take in your daily, everyday living? So in Buddhism, our daily lives, our activities are made up of three parts. We call these the three kinds of karma, the three kinds of activity. Our bodily activity, our actions, our words, our speech, and our thoughts. So what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking, that is your life right there. And so if we think about this aspect of removing pain, what can we do to alleviate pain or to remove pain for someone who's experiencing some suffering? You know, if we start with our bodies, right, we can give some food to someone who's hungry, for example. It's very basic. I do this all the time, with my own kids. That's their main complaint is, Dad, I'm hungry. Dad, I'm hungry. And so it's like, okay, what are you going to eat, right? So then it's opening up the refrigerator, trying to find something nutritious, maybe peeling an apple, maybe pouring a glass of milk, give them that food, and then the pain is gone. A lot of times the fighting starts when they get hungry, right? If they start fighting, the first question is, okay, are they hungry? Are they tired, right? Give them some food, and oftentimes that pain goes away and they start to live in peace, right? On a day like today, it's kind of cool and rainy, right? You could give someone a blanket, right? If somebody's, feeling a little bit shivery or chilly, give them a blanket, give them a warm coat, a sweatshirt. Very basic things that we can do to remove pain in a physical sense, right? How about our speech, our words? This is the second part of our karma, our daily activities. How can we remove pain with our speech, right? Oftentimes, we can cause pain with the things that we say, the way that we talk, right? Even our tone of voice, a simple question like, what are you doing? What are you doing, right? Just that little tone of voice can give pain or it can remove pain, right? So if we take care with our way of speaking, our tone of voice, the things that we say, we can remove pain from somebody's life. We can make their life less uncomfortable, less difficult, right? Another thing that we could do to practice this compassion of removing pain is if we see someone having a hard time, we can speak up. We can say, hey, that's not right, the way you're treating that person. That's not the way someone should be treated. This is another thing that I try to instill in my own kids. If somebody is having a hard time, if somebody's being bullied, speak up, say something about it. Go find an adult, speak up in their defense. My kids give me a running commentary on what happens at school every day, and I appreciate it because they still talk to me. I know enough that the time is coming, especially my oldest is 10 now. I can see that window is closing of open communication, but I still get some commentary about, what happened today. And, I'm starting to hear about, so-and-so called so-and-so such and such. And I'm starting to hear these bad words and these names and things like that. Or, I get the question of, what does this mean? And then I have to sort of, think about, okay, I've got to tell them what it means, but I also got to make it clear. You don't want to say something like that to somebody. And so I ask, where did you hear that? It's like, oh, so-and-so, called this other kid this name. And so in that case, then, I think about, okay, this is a time when we have to learn that by not saying those things, we can practice compassion, but also by speaking up in someone's defense. That's a way that this removing of pain can take form in our everyday lives. The most difficult, perhaps, is our mind, our thoughts, this karma of our thinking. And how can we remove pain by our thinking? In the Buddhist teaching, one of the most basic ways we can do this is by letting go of our ideas of like and dislike, particularly with regard to people. Right? I like this person. Oh, I like her. I don't like him. Right? That way of thinking, that will spill over into our way of acting, our way of talking. Right? Thinking of someone as this person is my ally. This person's on my side. This person is against me. Right? That us versus them. You're with us or against us. You're with me or against me, right? That mentality can cause a lot of pain for people. If we can let go of that, we can remove a lot of pain that we experience in our lives, right? So this removing of pain, a lot of times, these are very straightforward things that we can do. It can be very clear what to do to remove pain. In many cases, especially in these sort of basic daily interaction kind of situations. But there are some times when it's not easy to remove somebody's pain. And here I want to return to this case in this situation of like someone who's experienced the loss of a loved one, someone who's encountered the reality of death, somebody that they care about deeply. That pain, can't just be removed by giving someone a blanket or a plate full of apples, right? That can help. That can bring a bit of peace of mind, but it's not going to remove the pain completely. And this is where we see this other side, this character for sadness. If somebody's feeling that kind of sadness, we can't necessarily pull that away, but we can give comfort by going into that with them, by sitting with them in their sadness, by joining in that. Then we experience this other side of compassion that can bring comfort. So if we think about our bodies in this case, just simply sitting with somebody, sitting together, just being there with them, showing up, and just be there. You don't even have to do anything. Just be present. That can bring comfort. That can bring some peace, that sense of not being alone. With our mouths, there's the aspect of saying things, but the karma of speech also includes what you don't say. Just shut up and listen, right? Just listen to what someone has to say without providing your own rolling commentary. Oh, you should have done that. You should have said that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Just listen. And if you're going to say something, you can say, that must be so painful. I can see that really upsets you. Let them know that you're hearing them, right? So this listening and speaking, these are closely connected, right? So we hear Namo Amida Butsu. We say Namo Amida Butsu. These aren't two separate processes. This is together. And likewise, right, to listen and quiet our mind and to hear, then our mouth maybe becomes quiet too. And so this compassion, this arrives in our minds when we're able to notice the suffering of someone else. So to let that sadness in, let that sadness that person is feeling, let that into my heart. That is the first step to bringing them some comfort. And to really do this, you need to be able to awaken this heart that feels the sadness of someone else, not as, oh, that's their problem, but to really be able to welcome that into your own heart. Right? How is that? Is that easy to do? What do you think? It's not easy for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very much caught up in my own concerns on a daily basis, day by day. You know, it's about me and about Henry and what's going on in Henry's life. And it can be hard for me to really open myself to the sadness and suffering that someone experiences. In Buddhism, we talk about there's three kinds of compassion, three kinds of this openness of heart. There's the small compassion, the medium compassion, and great compassion. So small compassion is compassion for people you really like, people you're really close to. If your best friend, loses their mother, it's easier to feel something about that, to feel some sadness, to feel some concern, than if somebody you don't even know, you read about it in the newspaper. We read about people experiencing loss all the time. And so small compassion is that easy compassion for people you know well. The second compassion, sort of middle compassion, is compassion based on understanding. You read something in the newspaper and you think, wow, I can imagine how difficult that must be. I can imagine the sadness that person must be feeling. And so you've heard the Dharma and your mind opens and you can make that connection in your heart. Now, great compassion is compassion that is unconditional. It's the kind of compassion that extends to someone you really don't like, someone who drives you nuts, right? Someone who you feel a kind of joy in getting mad at, right? To be able to be compassionate towards that really obnoxious, difficult, annoying person in your life, that's great compassion with no bounds, no limits. That's the compassion of the Buddha. The Buddha has that great compassion. In this Wasan I read, great compassion is untiring, right? And illumines me always, right? Untiring. Now, Shinran Shonin, he says in a Wasan, he says, I lack even small love and small compassion. I cannot hope to benefit sentient beings. Were it not for the ship of Amida's vow, how could I cross the ocean of painful existence? Right? When I hear this, I think about myself, just little things that I feel like I should be able to do. I'm married, and my wife is the person who I should feel the deepest concern for, the most closeness to, for whom it should be easiest for me to feel compassion. That small compassion should be easy with my loving wife who does so much for me every day. Right now, she's at home with our 3 kids, taking care of them on a rainy Sunday afternoon in our house. Such deep gratitude. It should be easy for me to feel this compassion for her. But I think about this one situation where she had purchased this beautiful set of dishes for our house, and when one of them I'd sort of not taken care. I'd given them to our youngest son to eat a bowl of cereal in, and lo and behold, he knocks it off and it shatters all over the floor, right? And she was very distraught, very sad about this, because she had, taken care, found this very nice set of dishes to create this beautiful experience for all of us to enjoy a meal together. And, I had quite carelessly just sort of, just given it to this toddler to use. And, she was upset about it. And my response should have been to listen to how upset she was and to understand and to, to apologize and to be, really be able to just be with her and listen to how she was feeling upset. But I immediately got defensive, right? I immediately, sort of went on the defense about it. Well, we didn't have other clean dishes and so on and so forth. And so it immediately kind of became about me in that moment, right? Instead of being able to listen and hear her sadness and her feeling of dismay about these dishes. I mean, this is a minor little thing, but it's the kind of thing that a person should be able to, who has the capacity for small compassion, to say, okay, this isn't about me, to set that aside and to really have the open heart, right? But then I realized in that moment that even that kind of small compassion is lacking in me. And so in moments like that, I would turn my ears to this wisdom we have from Shinran Shonin, which says that for those who lack small love and small compassion, right, we have the ship of Amida's vow. Shinran Shonin talks about, in this passage that I read, passions obstruct my eyes. Greed, anger, ignorance obstruct my eyes, so I can't see the activity of the Buddha's compassion at work in my daily life, right? If I had my eyes open to that light, I would be able to practice more of this, even small compassion. But Shinran Shonin writes that great compassion is untiring and illumines me always. So the light of the Buddha is constantly shining into our hearts and embracing us in these little everyday moments and in the most difficult times, these deep moments of sadness when we lose a loved one. And so we chant these words of the Shōshinge on the occasion of a funeral service to take comfort in this wisdom of the Buddha, to be reminded all together as we gather in grief that this great compassion of the Buddha is illuminating us always. And in that moment, then we're also reminded to awaken that compassion and concern for one another. And in that way, we can care for and support each other in that moment of grief and loss, and to experience the working of the Nembutsu, the kindness of Amida Buddha, which guides us to realize the truth that in that moment of loss, there's also the joy that birth in the Pure Land has been realized, the gratitude for the time that we've been able to have together, and the peace of mind knowing that we too, through this working of great compassion, will one day realize birth in this world of peace and bliss. So with these reflections, I'll conclude my Dharma talk for this morning. I invite you to join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Okay, great. So the next item on our agenda will be the Vandana Ti-sarana, which, again, if you have this purple book, it's on page 16. Kevin will be able to share that up on the screen so that we'll all be able to join together for Vandana Ti-sarana. We'll begin with se no. Se no. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangam 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 saranam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namu Kie Butsu. Namu Kie Ho. Namu Kie So. Namam Dabuts, 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 Namam Dabuts. Now is the time to share some appreciations. First, I want to show my appreciation for Kevin, who's been running the Zoom throughout this meeting, and really appreciate that. He showed up early this morning to help me get everything set up and situated and keep it running smoothly. Also, very grateful to Elaine Sensei, who's here to bring the Kansho and to provide some extra live audience here in person for this morning's service, and especially grateful to all of you for being with us together on Zoom this morning. I want to invite Kevin at this time to come up and make an announcement here.
Hi, good morning, everyone. One quick announcement, a reminder, it's that time of year for board elections. So if you're interested, please consider. This time, terms are 2 years, so not 3 years anymore, so it's a little shorter. If you're interested, you just have to submit a candidate statement about why you're interested and what you would like to do. And there are 7 open spots for next year. And the deadline to submit your statement is November 21st. You can send it to me or Elaine. And yeah, and there's more information in the newsletter. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Kevin, and thanks to all of our board members. I see many of you are here with us, and we're very grateful for this support. Let's see, can you open that link from Yumi, Kevin? Let's see, yeah, and there's so October 30th. Maybe we could even. I wonder if we could screen share this.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe can we make it a little smaller? There we go. Okay, and then just narrow the window a little bit. There we go. Even a little more. Then people can see it better. There we go. Okay, thank you, Kevin. So this is an upcoming seminar. This is great information. Thank you for sharing this with us, Yumi. Yumi, do you want to make an announcement, or do you want me to announce it?
You can announce it.
Okay. Oh, but you're talking. You should announce. We want to hear from you, Yumi.
Okay. Well, thank you. As a CBE governing board member, I thought it might carry more weight. But you're all invited to the CBE seminar, which is presented by the Everyday Buddhism Committee. And that's kind of a program committee that puts together these programs, which are especially appealing, I think, to a broad range of Sangha members and interested people. So this one, we're honored to have Reverend Marvin Harada, BCA Bishop, to introduce this topic, the 3 poisons in our life. And it's going to be an overview, and it's going to be a little more interactive, I think. And it'll be part of a series on the 3 poisons. So you're all invited. There's a Zoom link there. If you have any questions or run into any problems, you can feel free to call me on it, since I'm staffing this project as well. So anyway, just want to make sure you all knew. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Yumi. Yumi, nothing carries more weight than the voice of Yumi Hata, as far as I'm concerned. So thank you very much.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Please do. Please do. Intended as such. Yeah. Great. It's wonderful to see you looking well, Yumi. Great. So I think this will then conclude our service for today. We'll, after the closing gassho, if you wish to stay on and chat for a few minutes, we welcome you to do so. I'll be around, and so if anyone has any questions or just wants to say hello, welcome you to stay on the meeting after gassho. So please join me in gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namam Da Butsu. Namam Da Butsu. Namam Da Butsu. Namam Da Butsu. Great. Okay. Thank you all very much. This will conclude today's service. But yeah, if folks want to say hello, you're welcome to.